Our goal is to get membership for you in 2030. So it's kind of 5 years. It's still doable if we start accession talks now. Lithuanian accession talks lasted 2 years and then 2 years for ratification. Your talks might last a bit longer. You're a bigger country, you have more problems, but we really want that this process would be synchronized with Moldova. Moldova is much smaller, it's much easier for them to start and finish talks, but we want you to move together.
How will large-scale corruption scandal in energy sector influence EU-Ukraine relations? Should we wait for dramatic political crisis, and will Western partners force Ukraine to conduct elections for political establishment change? My interviewee today is Lithuanian politician and diplomat, former ambassador to the United States, Žygimantas Pavilionis. I'm glad to see you, Žygimantas.
My pleasure.
Which potential political consequences in terms of EU-Ukraine relations do you see? I will explain what I mean. I reckon it can be two perceptions of Ukraine as potential member of European family with indicated future and common values, and as gray zone between civilized world and Russian barbarians. There is significant difference between these two things, and it depends on how Europe is ready to consider us as potential member or gray zone with deep corruption and lack of values.
There is no scenario in between. You are either in Russian zone of influence, you are either part of Russian empire with all corruption you have, because corruption is the best export of Russia. They exported those Mongol Tatar thieves kind of features into our blood system, and they were ruling, and they are still ruling their empire through corruption. As my friend Senator McCain was saying about Russia, this was always a gasoline station run by mafia. The only problem is now, and I'm very happy with that the gasoline is actually now not so much. The gasoline is not so much inside, because you are bombing their gasoline, and we introduce more and more sanctions. I'm happy that Trump introduced sanctions against Lukoil and Rosneft. The Biden was afraid of that. This reminds me of the sanctions of Reagan, but it's not enough. We will push for more sanctions. We have the Graham so-called sanction list in Congress, and I know that White House is more and more interested to make another huge step to crash Russian energy blood system. There is no shadow or gray membership of EU. You will be normal member. You will have normal accession talks, and that's why we need to open those negotiations on cluster first that will deal with your corruption. So it's our interest, it's our business interest, because you also have Lithuanian businessmen who wants to have transparent business in Ukraine. And it's not only Lithuanian, a lot of American companies in Lithuania are waiting for the moment Ukrainian markets will be more transparent and they will jump into Ukraine. German companies and other companies that are already in Ukraine, but not at the level they are in Lithuania. We are now live through the most rich period of Lithuanian history because of those investments. And you will be much richer than us because your economy, your people after the war will be even stronger. Because when you live in those territories close to the front line, we have the strongest people on this planet. French and other countries, they don't have people like us. So it will be good for your business. Mm-hmm. So our goal is to get membership for you in 2030. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of 5 years. It's still doable if we start accession talks now. Lithuanian accession talks lasted 2 years, and then 2 years for ratification. Your talks might last a bit longer. You're a bigger country. You have more problems. But we really want that this process would be synchronized with Moldova. Moldova is much smaller. It's much easier for them to start and finish talks. But we want you to move together. This is our strategic goal, and we will fight for it.
If I understood you correctly, this scandal hasn't changed perception of Ukraine in Europe family.
No, it even showed that Ukraine is much more serious than we thought. Because we also had in Lithuania a few corruption scandals, but only when we started to put in jail our own ministers, people from the high echelon of power, only then the West started to believe that we might be quite successful with this fight. So the more evidence that you are fighting seriously, of course, the more cooperation with our countries, because we are interested in the successful end of your fight, even better. But you have to continue fighting, because actually it will never end. Corruption will never end, but it will be much more under control in European Union, because, as I said, it will not be only your agencies, but agencies of all other EU member states, and Brussels directly helping you. Like, we have institutions called OLAF. Those are the European Union best expert that will hunt for your thieves, because they are not your thieves. People who steal from you, I would call them simply Russians.
According to my own experience as a Ukrainian citizen, as Ukrainian journalist, I'm sure that this corruption case is not the last one. If situation doesn't change in this context, will EU incline us to not favorable conditions in terms of any peace deal with Russia? Because our value in European eyes will decrease, and then level of protection as well.
Well, this fight will never end. You will fight with your own little devils and with the devils on your eastern frontier. But it will never end, simply. So be ready, strengthen your institutions, and rely on your neighbors. Because you will always be infiltrated by Russians. Well, maybe we will be successful to destroy the empire completely. That would be good scenario for all of us. But until Russian Empire exists, you will have corruption cases, because that's the easiest way to get under your skin and then to get Kiev under control. Because what Russians understood in Georgia and Ukraine already, it's difficult to occupy the country. It's really difficult. And Ukrainians are so great to show to Russians that actually they are weak. Their army is much weaker than your own army. But until they exist, you have to be as strong as possible with all your anti-corruption agencies to fight those internal devils, because barbarians are for a long time behind the gates. They are inside you. And it's much easier to take Kiev under control politically by corruption than to take you militarily. So remember that. That's why, of course, Ukrainians have to devote much more resources to those internal devils.
Germany said that it was ready to protect independence of anti-corruption institutions if needed, as it was in summer when Parliament wanted to deprive them of independence through subordination to controlled institutions. If current ruling elite decides to try do it again, will Europe change its mind towards Ukraine?
Well, independence of anti-corruption offices is very important, of course. And this is one of the requirements of EU accession. So that's why I come back to the same question. You have to start accession talks right now, because in this cluster first, we will have much more requirements for your anti-corruption, for state aids, for everything that makes you clean and European. And finally, I'm quite sure that those who steal right now in Ukraine, they will understand that this kind of Russian way of living is stupid. It's very stupid and actually dangerous. You can earn in transparent way much more money in Europe if you do not steal. Maybe it will not be the spectacular money that you can get into kind of Russian way. It will be more stable, but it will be much bigger money in transparent way. We are more or less 500 million market that has 70 free trade agreements with all over the world. Even America is now closing their markets. We are opening. So you are entering the biggest free trade area of this planet. And in this area, we do not steal. We have a culture of not stealing. I have 4 sons. If you would ask them if this is good to steal or not, they would be insulted, because with the blood they know that this is bad. So I really hope that Ukrainians, all Ukrainians, even those thieves who are now doing it, will learn it, that this is not even wise to steal. If you steal, indirectly you are falling into the pockets of Russian Empire, because you make your country weak. But if you do not steal, if you grow another culture, more European culture, you can earn much more money. Like our factories who were stealing before accession, they were small. Now most of Lithuanian factories run businesses in 100 countries of the world. They become big, they become huge. That's why we are becoming much richer than, okay, let's compare us with Belarus. Belarus is 3 times bigger, but this stupid Belarusian kolkhoz, its economy is 3 times smaller than us, who are 3 times smaller than Belarus. So we show that even being smaller, but not stealing, by doing it in European way, you might become a big economy. Look to Nordic countries, where the habit of stealing is an insult. You know, it was dead before arriving. So I really hope that Ukraine will join that Nordic Baltic Club of transparent economies. You have great, strong people who defended their freedom by blood, by many sacrifices. Now it's time to build a great, transparent economy and to become one of the strongest economy, like Germany. Germany, who is investing into your economy, into your defense sector, thinking and hoping that you will not continue those Russian habits of stealing. It's Russian, it's not Ukrainian. Remember that.
Yeah, I totally understand you and totally support you. You are talking about mature political behavior and political culture, but unfortunately not everybody in our government, in our ruling elite understands it. And we see it right now.
But look, whoever was changing, they had similar habits. I will not point fingers to previous presidents and previous parties. Mm-hmm. This is your national fight. You have some habits. Fight with those habits on personal level. It should be a culture. It should be like patriotism. Ukrainians do not steal. Russians steal. Those who steal, they are Russians. You have to fight with them like with Russians whom you are killing for very good reasons on those occupied territories. So fight with them like you fight with the Russians. And I am sure that it will be okay, because we invest into Ukraine. Our people are more or less on every corner in Kiev. Per capita, we are one of the biggest supporters of your fight, internal and external, because we believe in you, because we've been living with you in the same area for hundreds of years. And remember and think about the vision. From Baltic Nordic area to Black Sea, we have one of the strongest nations of those planets who always fight against those orcs from Russia. And if you connect it to other big and competitive areas like America, like Indo-Pacific Ocean, except China. I hate doing business with China. Lithuanians hate doing business with communist Chinese. We killed all the networks, all the ties with them. This is another fight you will have to do in Ukraine. Get rid of China right now, even before thinking. But you will enjoy great company of South Korea, of Japan, of Taiwan, of many great, most competitive nations of this planet. But if you connect Indo-Pacific and Baltic Black Sea region, we will be the engines of the world. Economic engines, I mean. And I will invite my brothers and sisters Ukrainians to some event on this topic next year. I will call it Free North, because ice is melting and China and Russia is coming now to our region, actually from the north, not from the south and east. So let's wake up in this new world. Let's think like, people of 21st or even 22nd century, and let's fight with those Soviet viruses of 20th or 19th century that are absolutely Russian viruses in our blood system. I mean corruption.
Žygimantas, but actually I have asked you my previous question. I mean, how will Europe, how will EU react if our officials will decide to rekindle fight against anti-corruption institutions and again will try to deprive independence of these anti-corruption institutions?
I'm sure that they will not do it because they saw our reaction during the summer, and they saw the reaction of Ukrainians themselves. And that's another proof that Ukrainians are ready to join European Union, because to have people in the streets in 1 week, to have to finish that fight in 1 week, it's a big thing. It means you are Europeans, you are not Russians. You cannot tolerate corruption, but also the reaction of your government and present office was quick. To be honest, it's not so quick even right now in Lithuania. We don't have the government that I like. I'm in opposition. I criticize my government heavily, and my president heavily, because they are not reacting in a way your government and Zelensky reacted. So the strength of your protest and the speed of the reaction impresses, really impresses. It's a European level reaction, and that's why I'm so sure that they will not make this mistake again.
I got it. And the last one, how Trump can use this scandal? Don't you think that he will use it for pressure on Ukraine? Because as we remember, he was calling Ukraine totally corrupted state. That's why there is no sense to help it. Will he play this card when it needed?
That was not card of the Trump. That was card of Russia in America. Unfortunately, our American brothers and sisters, they do not understand what kind of Russian tricks, what kind of tricks Russia is implementing in their own soul and body. Russia is infecting America with many anti-Ukrainian narratives, including this one. But I see big change in Trump administration. The problem with America, where I served 5 years, that they're like kids who start crash course on Russia with each president election. Each new president, each new administration is learning Russia from ground zero. And we, most experienced nations, that's why we have to be very active in explaining that this is Russian in most of the cases, this is Russian propaganda. You have great ambassador now, new ambassador Stefanishina. She's my friend. I know she's doing great, but we have to be very active in America to kill those Russian narratives about you. And I'm quite impressed that Trump is moving. Remember from his first positions from which he started. Those different journalists, pro-Russian guys all around him. We have more and more Rubio, implementing negotiations with Russians. And Rubio, like me, we are good friends. We are of the same age with him. We hate communism. Rubio hates Castro, who expelled his sisters and brothers from Cuba to America. We hate all that corruption stuff, but we believe Ukrainians, because for us, Ukrainians or Belarusians, all Lithuanians, Baltic states, even Georgians, even Armenians who are fighting those Russian viruses today are much more European than Russia itself. Russians will, I don't know whether they will ever prove that they are Europe and they are European, but we know for centuries that Ukraine is a European country. You've been occupied for much longer time by Russian Empire, so fight with those viruses that you have in your blood system, and Europeans are the best of that. Maybe Americans today, only today, have bigger military power. I hope tomorrow we will have similar military power, because my former boss and my leader, my Prime Minister Kubilius, is now dealing with defense in Brussels. I'm quite sure that he will change Europe. Together with Ukraine, we will build our common defense. But until we do it, we are the best on this planet to kill corruption and kill all those Soviet instincts in your brain and mind, because those bureaucrats in Brussels, the experience we have, our money we have, those nitty-gritties of change, the best handled by Europeans. So you are entering very good club. Please press on that. We have to get rid of Hungarian blockade of your accession talks. Let's deal with Hungarians. Let's push those Germans who sometimes are tough with you to be as tough as they are with you with Hungarians. German business is the biggest in Hungary. So if Merkel went to Hungary and said some stupid things about us starting the wars, though she was the one to block Ukrainian membership to NATO in Bucharest NATO summit, where I was present as deputy foreign minister. So now Chancellor Merz should be as tough as Merkel and go to Orban and say, guy, move it out. Reopen accession talks for Ukrainians, because you are the only one as Russian puppet, as puppet of Chinese communists blocking this thing. So let's concentrate on Hungarian corruption and Hungarian pro-Russian behavior today in order to heal you 100%.
Žygimantas, it was my pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Goodbye.
Yeah,
Слава Україні.
Героям слава.